All right, hello, we're going to go ahead and learn about what is a logarithm. So what is a log? And it's a math function that we use in math and science in order to figure out what an exponent is. And so for example, if we had x plus 2 equals 4, something really simple, right? You would look at the plus 2. If you wanted to isolate this x by itself, we would want to do the opposite of addition. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 2 to both sides. And so that would cancel out, leaving x isolated on the left, and then 4 minus 2 is 2. So whenever you're trying to isolate a variable, you're going to do the opposite of what's next to it. So if there's addition next to it, you're going to go ahead and subtract, right? If it was subtraction next to it, you would add to both sides. If you had division and you're trying to isolate that x, you would go ahead and multiply to both sides, right? And then of course, if there was multiplication, say like 2x equals 4, you would want to do the opposite of multiplication, which would be divide to both sides in order to isolate that variable, right? And so then we end up again with x equals 2 here. So whatever function you have, you end up doing the opposite of it. And so for logarithms, it's the same idea. This time though, we have our variable, our x, as an exponent. And so we're trying to figure out, let's use this as an example, so 2x equals 8. We're trying to isolate this x up here. And this x, like I said, is an exponent. And in order to isolate exponents, we have to do the opposite of an exponent. The opposite of an exponent in this case is going to be a logarithm. And so we're going to take the log, and we're just going to write log on both sides of the equation, because remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do the other side. And so the logarithm of 2 to the x equals logarithm of 8. And that's going to cancel out that exponent. And so then we can divide log of 2 to both sides, right? And so the log of 2 divided by the log of 2, that cancels out. That leaves x, and x comes down as just a normal variable, right? So it's no longer an exponent, it just is there. Now, this part right here, we can plug into our calculators, and we would literally plug this into our calculator. Depending on what type of calculator, if you're using a computer calculator or scientific notation calculator, you're either going to plug in log, then the number, then division, and then the log, and then the second number, and then equal it. Or a couple other calculators, like this calculator on my computer, you plug in the number first, and then you hit the log button. So for the top part, we have the log of 8, so I'm going to plug in 8 log, right? So the log of 8 equals 0.9. But we need to divide that, and we're going to divide it by the log of 2, right? And the log of 2 is 0.3. Then I'm going to go ahead and press the equal sign, and it gives me my answer, which is 3. We're going to go ahead and go back through this and make sure that that makes sense in our brains. So we have, again, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it down here, 2x to the 8. That means 2 raised how many times equals 8. And if we said that x is equal to 3, if we go ahead and plug that in to make sure that this makes sense, 2 to the third, that means we're having 2 times 2 times 2, so we're multiplying 2 3 times. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 2 is indeed 8. So a logarithm is just a way to isolate a variable that is in the exponent area. I hope this helped. If you have questions, let me know.